Okay, I'm going to have a look at this claim here about this satellite tracking with Lockheed GPS signals. Now obviously I think this is pretty flawed here, but we'll have a look anyway. I've just looked at this painting here and it seems to have nothing to do with precise positioning anywhere near capable of, tracking your head. It's nothing to do with tracking. It seems more about, finding a general location to point at rather than to actually track and monitor anything. So this just seems, nonsense here. We've already seen with like this kind of Wi-Fi tracking stuff using pose detection that they quite accurately can track people. The kind of Wi-Fi radar kind of thing may estimate your pose, stuff like that, which you could track your head quite accurate with that. So I don't know what this is about, but we'll have a look anyway. So I've got the 3200 megahertz, 750 megahertz. Also take account of this one here, 392 to 395 with this the Victor weapon thing. You know what I mean? We'll have a look at that, see if that's blasting out all this energy. You know what I mean? So obviously what I've set up here is I've got a hackRF. I mean, what I'm using is actually a near field antenna, and I'm using dragonOS, but I'm using it on a Raspberry Pi. There's a version of it, so just find it easier to do that, and it's pretty good because it's all set up with dragonOS. You just plug in your hackRF and all the software, and that's already done. Drivers, you don't have to bother about any of that. And so, just get that picture. There we go. So I've set this up. So I've set that up for up here for 3000 megahertz and 4 megahertz. That's basically what's from here to here. Yeah. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of activity over here, which is again radio location kind of stuff and stuff like that. There's other bits pop up here and here. Yeah, it's quite a lot of activity. It's quite interesting part of the spectrum, really. Some of this stuff. It's quite interesting, and some of these signals as well don't seem to be very constant, as you can see down here. And obviously, this changes quite a lot. It's pretty good. So what I've done here is that's me antenna. So I'm also going to put it to the back of my head. You know what I mean? Move it around to the back of my head because they claim that's where the satellite's precisely aimed at. And I don't see fuck all on the any real changes here. There's odd bits and pieces, but nothing spectacular. And obviously I did this, so I've rigged it up like that, so I can put my head under it, move it. So obviously the signal would be strong and disappear, wouldn't it? Really. And there really's nothing that I could say that's really interacting with the way I move my head. These signals here just seem to be quite strange and odd anyway, so not consistent signals here, so I can't really say that there's a precise signal at all. And obviously what was the other one? Was 750. Yeah, obviously this is where the massive microwave vector beam energy guns firing at. Again, nothing. And again, because a lot of this they're not using high power to start with. And a lot of this, I would say, is sort of utilising it's sort of dual use heading a lot of these signals anyway. When you start looking at stuff like passive radar systems and all that, it's a complex signal. It's not necessarily a powerful signal, but it's a complex signal, and it's probably, it's not as easy as what this person's trying to make out. So I'll stick that head under there again. You know, I don't see any, you know, massive changes. You know what I mean? So I don't know how he's come to this realization and claim and make these claims, because you know what I mean, it's quite easy to actually test this stuff, you know. So it's not going to really convince anybody, convince, you know, any kind of scientifically minded person that's got, you know, basic equipment to do these kind of tests. It's not, you know what I mean. So it might sound good if you're a desperate victim looking for some answers, but if you're somebody who's got some kind of knowledge and some kind of equipment, it just looks, you know, like BS. That's just the way it is. Anyway, I hope you find that interesting.